Hey guys, Eric White here, Bill World Construction. Me and my wife, we've been in this business here in Amarillo, Texas for about 20 years. I always wanted to be an architect. So I love to draw, I love to create, I love to design. The job that I landed at 16 years old was with a local builder and built really high quality product, large homes, really cool stuff. Had everything that you can imagine that you would put in a house. So at 16 years old, when I'm thinking I want to be an architect, and I get to roll through some of the projects and things that they're building, and I'm cleaning and I'm pushing the broom and I'm talking to people, I figured out at that point, like, sitting behind a desk is not for me. Like, I really think I could do a whole lot more with the build process. And that's where the whole thing started. So at the time I wanted to go to a college closer to home that had a degree program that was more in tune with what I wanted to do. And so Texas Tech offered a construction engineering technology program. My whole goal going through school was to learn parts and pieces of every trade while I was starting to get a degree. Yeah, because a lot of people go to college and then they go get a job. Well, I was different. Like, I was going to college as a byproduct of working. And then talking to a few people in my Texas Tech classes, I really found out that Texas A&M was going to be the place for me to graduate from. So I took the leap of faith, withdrew from my classes, packed all my stuff. I drove all the way to Texas A&M and eventually found a great job with a local builder there. I ended up being a supervisor and learned a lot of the stuff that I needed to be a builder on my own. Being in the industry that we were, where you could see the houses that we were building and what those people did and how they made their money and how they made their success, it really drove me to getting out of the spot that I was in to be so much better. You go through the construction process at Texas A&M, you get the opportunities, a lot of opportunities that other people don't get. I actually got to choose between several people. I ended up with a company in Dallas that I thought was reputable. They built a great product. It was more of a high-end production type product, but they give you the 9 houses to build. You got to be done by March, and it's really trial by fire. So I learned more in Dallas in 9 months than I probably did in the 5 years that I was in school. I mean, they throw you out there and they say, hey, this is you, this is your job, go do it. So you learn how to interact with people, you learn how to interact with subcontractors, you learn how to take on warranty work, you learn how to take on people that may be upset because something didn't get done like they wanted to, and you learn how to walk people through the process and say, it's gonna be okay, we can get these things fixed, we're gonna make it perfect for you, and we're gonna get this house closed. Always wanted to be the person on the top. So I wanted to be the builder, I didn't want to be the assistant anymore. And going to Dallas for me was just an avenue to get where I eventually wanted to be. Learning from this higher end production builder gave me the tools that I needed. And about 9 or 10 months after being in Dallas, I have a full package to start my own business. I knew where I wanted to be. I'm from Amarillo, Texas. It's a wonderful community. It's also one of the only communities that you can live in and be a custom builder. You can come in this town, you can build one house, somebody loves it, somebody's gonna hire you to build the second one. At that point, the search began to figure out, how do I make that transition from Dallas to Amarillo, Texas? I had a couple employers in my past, a couple employers that I really felt were very close friends, and I made a phone call one day. And I said, hey, if I decided to come back to Amarillo, Texas, is there a possibility that we could put a few houses together? Do you think we could build a house? Do we think we can start this business? I know where I want to be, but I need to make sure that I have the avenue to get there. Talking back and forth, we decided that it was possible. We found an avenue how to do it, and that's where the next part of my life started. What do we do next? And that's where the fun part came in. We want to build a house, where do we build it? I go to a designer friend of mine that's doing the houses, and I'm like, hey, what is it gonna take to do a house design? She kind of gives me the upfront cost of what you need to do. And at this point, we're just putting the business together. We don't have a lot of cash. There's zero capital in the business. And so we're really trying to figure out, if we're using a limited amount of capital, a limited amount of cash that we have saved up, how do we make this part work? And so drawing the plans is kind of a big deal. And so we take the leap of faith, we secure our lot just by putting our name on it, we put the money down to draw the preliminary plan, we get the preliminary plans going. And so at this time we're using a professional designer to draw our plans. And at night, I'm taking those plans at home, and to add to what we're doing, I'm drawing the cabinets in pencil on the couch with the drafting board, just like you would do in high school. We needed an investor. After we'd drawn the plans, done all the design work, we built the budgets that we thought we were gonna need to build a house. Honestly, I'm building a house that's way more expensive than we even have the credit to afford. We needed to find that investor that believed in what we wanted to do. And we had a good friend from church that had the means to do what we wanted. And so what we did was take our project in as it was presented. We put it on the table for him, and we explained the whole thing, and he got it. He did. He saw the vision. He saw what we meant to do. He knew what we wanted to do. But he had a lot of advice that sent us back to the drawing board over and over and over again. And looking back at it, I may have been frustrated with the process, but he made us better. We went back, took that project, tweaked it into what it eventually was, and on that final presentation day, he said, "That's it." He said, "You guys got it." And it was just a quick trip to the bank, a couple signatures on the note, that house was started, and we're off and running. About a 9-month process for us, and during that process we hit every open house. We hit every opportunity that we had to build our name awareness, our brand awareness, and let people see what we were doing, because what we were doing was special. I mean, all the time that we spent designing, I soon learned was not something that other people were doing. And the reactions from those people were like, "This is amazing. Like, we haven't seen this. Like, nobody around here is doing this." And I'm thinking to myself, like, I don't get it. But it was all that time that we spent at home. It's all the time that we spent like drawing on the old drafting board on the couch, watching TV, trying to design those cabinets. Like, those are the little details that we figured out really quick that a lot of people don't have the capability to do. And that first house sold shortly after the sheetrock phase, just right as we were putting in the cabinets. And we were doing the work ourselves. And it probably took us way longer than everybody else to do it, but we took so much pride in what we were doing back then. And so as we're getting to the end of this house and we're gonna make the money off of it finally, we're already starting to draw 2 more plans. So we were building houses in a price range that only the top builders in Amarillo were building. And we were doing it because we didn't know any better. And when you add it up and put a profit percentage on there, it puts you at the top of the food chain. We didn't start at the top because we knew better. We started at the top because we were smart enough to learn from the other people that came before us. We learned a ton from them. We learned about style from them. We learned about products from them. We learned about colors, textures, stone, brick. Those are the things that you don't learn in school. You don't learn looking through a book. You learn those from the people that came before you. And we've been very fortunate that Amarillo has a elite group of builders that came before us that kind of paved the path to get us where we are. Old construction took off. It was something that we didn't expect, but it was something that we wanted. We had new clients coming in, we had a lot of new designs coming in. And so what we learned how to do is take a lot of the styles and things that weren't necessarily in Amarillo, and then be able to take them to our local designers, and we would say, look, we need to be able to focus this design, not just based because the rest of the neighborhood you drew and they all look the same. Like, we wanted to look like this. And so we developed a product that people really wanted to see. Yeah, and we wanted it that way. We didn't want to be the same cookie cutter builder in Amarillo. We wanted to have something different. We wanted something new to offer to the market, something maybe that somebody hadn't thought of yet. We were still doing the design. I was still drawing cabinets. I've gone from drawing, in pencil on the couch with the drafting board to an AutoCAD setup that I had in college. We're developing everything. Our budgets are getting better. They're getting tighter. We're making more money. It just became a real business at that point. A couple years after getting this process started and had the opportunity to take on old world construction solo, and I jumped at the chance. Doing that, it allowed me to really focus on the things that I wanted to do. A lot of those things were like, building your own personal house, doing things like that. But what really happened in that same time frame that all this went down was I met my future partner, who also happens to be my wife, who is probably the most creative person I've ever met, and the driving force behind what we are today.
My name's Christine, and I'm a designer for Old World Construction. I help our homeowners make selections and implement them the way they want them.
My wife has the most creative side to her. She had the opportunity building that first house to kind of put her spin on how we wanted to live.
And then as he would have other customers start coming to the house and they saw the way our home looked and the way it was decorated and they enjoyed it and asked if I could start helping them.
And that's when I really got to kind of get the idea that she got it. We were building custom houses one after another after another. And so the only opportunity that we had as a couple to build houses and sell them was to build our own personal house. And so we did that several times. And every house that we built for ourselves, we learned a little bit more. About 3 or 4 houses into it, like, people started to take notice. So here we are, 6, 7 years into the business. Christine's now into the business, but she is solely a designer for the company. She helps our clients. She walks them through the process. She gets the tile, she gets the flooring, she gets the paint, she gets the fixtures, she gets everything.
My husband and I are definitely yin and yang, and I think we fill the voids for each other.
We do a lot of the construction side. She handles a lot of the design side, and it really has worked out great. As the business scaled, we really got the creative freedom to do a lot of things that a lot of people can't do. I mean, you come into us and you say, hey man, I want something new, I want something fresh, I want something nobody else has ever done before, what can you do? And I'm like, just stand back. Like, we got this. And we can design these products, we can put something on the ground that you've never seen before, we can push the limits, we can offer new products, we can bring in new designers, we can do a million different things. We just want to get out of our comfort zone. We want people to be able to get out of their comfort zone, really push the envelope, do some really cool ideas, and put products on the ground that nobody has ever seen. About 4 years ago, we got into the 3D design. So I have a swimming pool designer here in town that draws in 3D, and I thought, man, that's a fantastic way to do this, and why is nobody in our business drawing in 3D? I mean, it seemed like the whole rest of the world is going to 3D, but every other plane that I get out of this town is a flat 2D drawing. And so the only way that I could figure out how to do that was just to kind of learn how to do it myself. Several tutorials on YouTube, a couple of fantastic programs, listening to a lot of mentors, a lot of people have done it before me. We're off into 3D design. I find myself sitting at my computer a lot more than I used to, but what has happened over the last 3 or 4 years is we've developed that 3D design program, and it's something that nobody else in our area can get. And so not only are we designing in 3D, but we're showing in 3D. We're doing renderings in 3D, we're doing videos in 3D, and so you can feel your project, you can live in your project, you can walk through your project before you ever build it. You know, I really feel after 20 years of being in the business and everything that we've been able to accomplish up to this point, like, the ability to continually push the envelope is what we really feel is most important.
Eric and I, over the past years we've been doing this, have been so extremely blessed. We have so much support in the community. We have so many friends we have made, and the relationships we've made with the subcontractors and the families of our customers, and we're just really grateful.
My goal really going forward is to not only develop the business and push those boundaries and push that envelope, but like we're really focused now on our family. We're focused on the experiences in life. We really do want to more travel. We want to see more things. And a lot of those things we can bring back, we can implement into our design. But, you know, for us, it's, you know, we've pushed that envelope. You know, we want to be able to take a step back at a certain point and see those parts of the world. And I think a lot of those parts of the world are what make us better designers.